Well, hello. I'm recording this one just past midnight, and the title of it, this will be the video for June the 4th, is Drummer Determination. Wow. I just got back from a performance by my son's band, Orangatanga, and I include the link to that band webpage in this blurb. If you've been listening to my videos lately, you will know that he got palsy in his right hand only 8 days ago. They canceled the two shows that were scheduled for that last weekend. For the past week, besides seeing alternative practitioners, he has been doing what he can to resume his drumming ASAP. Well, tonight was the night. They played two sets, and even though he notices what he cannot do the same as before, it was an amazing performance. To say it was inspiring for me, and probably many others, is an understatement. I don't mind the world knowing that I'm very proud of my boy. If anyone has a recording of one of the songs he played tonight, please let me know so that I can share it. Thanks. Yes, indeed. His hand is like this, and he cannot do this. He has no ability to lift his hand. So he had a brace on his arm so that it can support his hand, and he's able to hold the drumstick. Now he can't, he told me that he's not able to do some of the fast rhythms and beats and stuff that he normally does with that hand, obviously, because it doesn't have the mobility that it used to have. But you wouldn't know it to listen to him. Now, there were a few times that he grimaced, and of course, I noticed his facial expressions, meaning that, oh, I didn't do that exactly the way I wanted it to come out. It didn't come out perfectly. And that happens even normally anyway. It happens with all musicians. They sometimes hit a bad note or a bad beat or something. He did not play the bass guitar tonight, and he normally plays the bass guitar on a couple of songs. But I don't think that that's possible since he needs his right hand to do some of the strumming and stuff like that. And I don't think that that's possible with the palsied hand. But I am truly, truly amazed, not only with my son, but with the band for taking the extra rehearsal time that was necessary to let him work out how to use that hand again so that the sound would be acceptable to the audience. And believe me, it was more than just acceptable. It was, as I said, it was amazing and inspiring. While I have you here, I'm not going to just talk about that. That's the principal focus of this video. But some people have suggested that I not talk about anything negative. And I'm going to repeat what I've said before. You can frame things in more than one way. Now, my son, as I said, has palsy in his right drumming hand. Of course, he uses both hands, but he has his palsy there, but he made the best of the situation and moves forward with it. They take a negative circumstance, this, and turned it into this, being able to drum. That's what we all need to learn how to do, myself included. I had to learn to take a negative circumstance of losing my home, and it pulled the rug out from under me. I want to tell you, for a while there, I wanted to die. I mean, I was praying to die. And of course, I discovered the Seekers. I've said that before. And they became my inspiration to keep me going, to keep making the videos. And despite some of the criticism that I was getting still, and I still get it from people that don't see the bigger picture. Prior to going to hear my son's band tonight, I want to say that I went to a meeting that lasted, I was there 2 hours, a little over 2 hours. And we had a discussion group. It was basically what it was. and we were looking at how the world is, what we're told in the media and everything else. We were looking at all of that. That was the first part of the discussion group. The second part was the positive aspect. And what's happening, I believe, is two levels of consciousness are merging. It's almost like two worlds are coming together. And let me tell you something. The positive is always stronger than the negative. The light is always able to extinguish darkness. And the lights are coming on. That was what the second part of the discussion was about. It was the determination of people like me and a multitude of others, probably hundreds of thousands, if not a few million people. I don't know how many out of the 6 or whatever billion people, 6.5 billion people there are on the planet. I don't know how many of them are awake yet and working toward positive change, but we are doing our best to let the light that we have shine. Now, what does that do? That puts out the darkness. That's the drummer determination, or the determination of marching to the beat of the drummer that's inside of us that says there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a world that is beneficial for humanity, not a world that enslaves humanity, and a world that takes without giving back. And the problem, of course, is a level of consciousness, and it's also that some beings somewhere were allowed to infiltrate Earth and spread their poison in human consciousness and human experience. And they've done a good job. Now, it wasn't always that way. If we go back and look at all the pyramids, this is one of the things that came up in the discussion group tonight. We can look at all of the pyramids that are being discovered all over the world by archaeologists, even under the ocean. They're being discovered. And these are symbols of a much higher civilization and a much different technology than the technology that we have today. They didn't use slave power to lift those monolithic rocks to build the pyramids. They probably used mind power, the power of the soul that we've had extinguished to a large extent in the human experience, so that they could enslave us. They couldn't enslave people that were conscious, so they had to turn off some of our capabilities, turn off some of our chakras and shut them down and shut us down, so that we only had the sexual drive and the basic elemental things, but not some of the higher spiritual levels. But those are being turned back on. That's the point that I'm trying to make. It's the determination of the inner drummer to rise up and take back the world from those that have usurped and falsely usurped the power, so that there can be balance. Not so that we eliminate evil. Evil is just simply making wrong choices. It can be as simple as that. It doesn't have to be the domination of evil over good, which is what we've come to accept. But that's not the ultimate reality, and it's not the reality that is coming into being and is being manifested, in my opinion, and the opinion of those in the discussion group tonight, that ultimately good is happening. It's going to continue to happen. Now, I don't know if as some people predict, that the changes in the United States, for example, are going to happen by July the 4th this year. I'd love to see that happen. Do I believe it? I don't know, is the truthful answer. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know the timetable. I know that it can't go on forever and ever with the negative being in control. I know that that has to be brought to a halt, and there has to be a reverse flow of energy called an antiadromia, where everything shifts in a more positive and a more loving direction. And I pray that the determination that is built within us will rise to the surface, just as it did in my son, and we will be able to fulfill our dream. Thank you for listening, and namaste.